Life through music.
Well, when I was a kid, I started off on piano, but I did not like it at all. I cried before every lesson. And so that's when they were like, yeah, maybe she should choose something else. And so I started on cello. I think when I first realized that I wanted to be a professional cellist was probably in high school. It was just something I was good at, and so, you know, it can be tough to figure out what you want to do. And I seemed to be good at that, and I enjoyed playing in the Houston Youth Symphony. Justin can play piano and guitar and bass, and he kind of plays a little bit of everything, I think.
With the oncoming pandemic, things had to change.
We got unemployment for the first time in our lives, and so calling the Texas Workforce Commission was kind of stressful, and a lot of times you get a busy signal or it would just hang up on you. It would just say like, too many calls, bye. And so Justin decided to write an album for cello and sort of piano and synth called Texas Workforce Commission Hold Music. The music that maybe you wish you would have heard when you were put on hold. The local PBS affiliate radio station did a feature on us about it. And then it got picked up by NPR on All Things Considered and was played nationally. Next thing you know, we got contacted by the actual Texas Workforce Commission. We were a little nervous. We thought, uh-oh, are we in trouble? And they asked if they could license our music to be their hold music. So our music apparently is the hold music for the Texas Workforce Commission.
Hi, thank you for calling the Texas Workforce Commission.
Yeah, hi, this is a weird thing to ask, but could you just put me on hold? I want to hear the hold music.
Yeah, I'll put you on hold now.
Part of the pandemic, we did a little pandemic pivot, as we call it, and started a sort of mobile movie business. That was something that kind of kept us going during the pandemic when all the music gigs just went away. And so I wasn't playing with the symphony or the opera, everything just shut down. Playing with Stevie Wonder was one of the big highlights of my life. And so that was amazing. He's a legend. And so that was a highlight. And I tried really hard not to cry while I was on stage because I had in-ears and I got to hear him. It's like he was singing directly into my head. And I've gotten to play with a lot of different people, especially on Austin City Limits. So I've gotten to play with Lyle Lovett, and of course David Byrne. We did an Austin City Limits. Pretty much anybody who comes through Austin and needs strings, my string quartet ends up being one of the top calls for that, just because we have a lot of experience playing in in clubs and with different bands. Touring is pretty wild. We call it the tour bubble. You have a tour manager that kind of takes care of everything. You don't really have to make a lot of decisions about your life every day, which is why a lot of times people have a sort of weird post-tour, not depression, but you wake up and you're like, who's telling me what to do with what am I supposed to do today? Where's my sheet that says what the day looks like? When 9/11 happened, we had a tour. We were supposed to leave the very next day, and everyone's kind of scattered. The core band was in New York, the strings were in Austin, some of the crew were in Seattle. And everyone was just told, rent cars and just get to Chicago as quickly as you can. So we had 2 minivans that we had rented, and and of course we were speeding, and I think we were in maybe, it might have been Oklahoma, but 2 cops pulled us over together. We passed 2 cop cars that were hiding like by a bridge, and then 2 different lights went off and we got pulled over at the same time, both cars, and both cars got speeding tickets. And then when we got to Chicago, we just went to the tour manager and just gave him our speeding tickets, and he took care of them for us. But it was really nice to be on tour during that time after that happened, after 9/11, because it was very stressful, and I think if I were at home, I would have just been a nervous wreck watching the TV, and instead we were on a tour that kind of insulated us from all of it, and we just focused on making music. And honestly, that Friday we weren't sure if people were going to be ready to see a concert and pretend like everything's fine. And so we were a little nervous. We were like, I don't know, is it time to play music and have a good time? I don't know. And everybody seemed like they really were happy to have that distraction. I think that was really important for people to be able to like go out and not think about it for a night. And so, yeah, that was probably one of the strangest times of tour. We were booked at a festival in St. Petersburg, Russia, and they had to hire a bodyguard for the tour bus because in the countryside of Russia, apparently there would be people that would pull over your tour bus and rob you. And so we had this guy that was ex-military, and he had, you know, like a big flak jacket on with knives and guns, and he couldn't even fit through the doorway through to the front of the bus. Like, he had to go sideways because he had so much stuff on. And he ended up being a really, really sweet guy. Our friendly security guard guy came in and spoke Russian and talked to them, and I don't know what he did, but he allowed us to get on the plane, which was great, because otherwise we probably would have had to pay a huge fee for taking our own instruments out of the country. You don't necessarily trust that if something were to happen that you would be okay, because you don't feel like, yeah, you just feel like they could just lock you up and nobody would know.